Hey everybody, it's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to recap tonight's games, and then obviously go into the Sunday football games. It was going to be hard to cover them today while covering all the other ones. So I'm going to go into all the games that I like. I did want to touch on the games that we did play. So right off the bat, baseball is good. I figured again, I picked the Phillies when Verlander was pitching, and I picked the Astros when Wheeler was pitching because it just made sense. People are going to be picking those pitchers, so I thought it'd be smart to fade them. With basketball, we didn't do so well, but if you noticed, these were the games I did like $18 on. I did 24 on a few, but I didn't put the stake in these. I put it in college just because, again, on first legs, I still want to pick the best picks possible, but I really try and save the best metrics I can for our second, third leg. So I did think, based off the Heat Kings, as I said, the Kings have played spoiler, they've had trap lines, and then they wouldn't spoil. So I thought they were going to, but then I figured now that the Heat are 1-6 or something against the spread. I figured the Heat would look strong. So we missed that first leg, as we did the Hawks. I even bought it up to 7, just so we'd be a little bit safer. And of course, it was 8. So one more point, I would have been good. But you buy that many points, and you're just defeating the purpose. So that one didn't go our way either, nor did the Mavs. That one, and I have noticed a trend, which is a good thing. If you see Luka, if he's got like more than 6 3-point attempts, I think he had 5 this game, and he's just not making them, they're probably going to lose. Because Luka, as you can see, like he had something like 16 assists and 31 points or something. He controls when they score, but remember, he also controls when they don't score. So 10 assists. So he had a triple-double, but 0 for 6 for the three-point line. I bet you he didn't do good from the free throw line. Bad from the field goals. So once again, just completely outperformed by Dinwiddie. It just shows that Luka. So we can do some live action going forward, kind of knowing what's going on there. And then we did get the Warriors Hornets. I think they were just trolling the people that picked the over on this one, because as you can see, it wound up going to overtime, and the over-under was 234.5, and it wound up 234, and it wound up being 233. So, and speaking of that, I think this is the topic on everyone's mind, and this is why I like my system. This loss that was disheartening for so many people, we got right back with Colorado State, but obviously, you have a 3-point lead on the opponent's 20, 4th and inches. You're running it all game. What do? You back up and you heave it to the end zone to beat the spread. And it was so bad, an announcer during the game, the Stanford-UCLA game, even said something to the effect of, I don't see why you would throw that unless you're just trying to cover a spread. It was that, there were people debating how stupid of a play it was. And I think it was just so blatantly obvious. I don't know, maybe something got messed up. I think a lot of live bets came in. This is my proof that live betting affects these games to an extent. I genuinely believe the way that was setting up, West Virginia was going to cover. They had a late touchdown. You could say they were just doing it to rub it in fans' face, but to me, that there's people on Twitter just screaming that it's rigged because of this, and I don't think that's what they want. So I think just so much live action came in probably on West Virginia. They went or maybe an under. They went ahead and had TCU get that touchdown. I could be wrong, but it was just a very odd slowing down the pace, then picking it up, and that type of thing. And speaking of that, like I said, we got Colorado State on an over because they were like 0-7 this year. So we got that right back on the third leg. They did. I told you I thought Boise was going to score it themselves. Colorado State is so bad. So there are perks to watching a bad team. And then we did just get the under on UCLA, who, again, they were all year UCLA. They've only hit one under, so I figured that metric wasn't going to hold. So we got that one too. And if you just watch that game, like if any of you guys could watch that whole game if you want to, or because you can't, the highlights aren't going to tell you, you'll just see how slow of a pace they're playing at. How every time it's like something in goal. There was a false start called, and it works out for us. But it just shows how they did not intend to ever let that overhit. Just watching it, I felt really good the whole game. I was going to put something out in Discord, but I didn't want to get people's hopes up. But just all the dropped catches, these little things, even though those teams, UCLA and Stanford, can score, all these opportunities caused it where they couldn't. So I found that interesting. So that's the recap. Now I want to go into the football games. And as you know, we already have our fourth leg, which I decided to go with. You can come, ride with me, as Russell would say, or not. But I do believe the Broncos win. Just all the stuff Russell's been saying, it's setting up a Russell comeback in London. He's really good in London. I also found out that Elway, their first game there, the Broncos, was 35 years ago with Elway. So, and Russell's like a hero there. He's loved there. So I just love them. Then going down, a couple do jump out of traps, but the one I like the most is the Raiders. I like the money line. And I've been taking the Saints a lot, but the reason I like the Raiders is I don't see them. I think they're going to force some kind of Bucs-Saints rivalry with Winston, but I don't think he's coming back from what I'm hearing. And the Raiders, Vegas has them as good odds to win not good odds to win the Super Bowl, but compared to other teams, it's ridiculous. They're like halfway down the list when they should be. So it's same as Denver, when they should be like 3/4 down the list with their record. So I do like the Raiders on the money line to beat. I could see the game having shenanigans. So I like the Raiders on the money line. This is going to be a second leg, by the way. This is going to be a second leg of the 46 is fine. Of the loss we lost Miami University. I had not done a second leg on that. So that's going to be a second leg for that. All the open legs I will wind up doing. I just like to pick the best games. Another one that I did like, and this one, it's not the one that I specifically liked, but it jumped out to me as a possible trap, and I could see a lot of people falling, is Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta has a really good record against the spread. Again, something I don't see holding, and I just don't see why they wouldn't be, with how bad Carolina's been. I don't see why they're only giving up 4 of the Falcons. They've proven they could beat the Bucs. They're almost at 500, and I know a lot of people are pushing this. Everyone in the NFC East is going to be 3-5 thing, so I can kind of see that as well. So I do like the Carolina Panthers to cover the spread. It's 4, so I'll take the 4, and this one's just going to be 25 to win around 20. That's fine. A first sequence. And again, the reason I like it is I don't see why the Panthers would be giving up getting only 4. That doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just trying to hit most of the ones. I'm going to hit the 4 o'clocks as well. It's just, I do like to play it by year. At a glance, obviously, to me, the Seahawks sticks out like a sore thumb. They should not be only 3-point favorites. And same with the Texans. I think the injured quarterback for the Titans is a reason to explain that. But I can go more into those. I just wanted to get these out first, and then sometime in the morning I'll do a better recap and get the rest out. Just like I said, my phone data, I'd hate to do a 30-minute video and have to redo it. Now, as far as the 1 o'clocks, we got Panthers, we got Broncos, and we got Raiders. So I'm looking at them, and again, Jets looks very appealing. It looks fitting too. The reason I do like the Jets is I've noticed some parallels this year with Brady and Belichick. And if the Patriots lost, they would be 3-5. And I do find that interesting. And it does look like a trap to me where the Jets should not be favorites. So I'm not completely sold on this one. But I do think that they're trying to push a few teams in the AFC East. They might be trying to keep it close, though, so you kind of have conflicting narratives. So this one, you guys can, I guess, maybe decide in the comments. Maybe I'll put a poll out, but it's not one I'm running out of my way to play, just because I can see both narratives. But what I do like is they're saying it'd be the first time the Patriots were, I think, 2 games below 500 or the first time they were this far behind the Jets since 2001, basically when Brady was there. So there's a lot of full circle moments that, in my opinion, would lead to a Jets win. And you know what? Just because I think there is more leading towards a Jets win, the only thing in my opinion that's indicating the Patriots would win this game is the fact that the line to me looks like kind of a trap. But I still think a lot of people think the Jets suck, and I think they do too. I think they just, they're pushing them. But I'm going to go ahead and play this one. I do think the narrative of Belichick losing to the Jets, who obviously he left, and also the narrative of them being 3-5, having the Jets more competitive with the Bills and Dolphins. You can't really have 4 competitive teams in the division. You got to have a bottom dweller. They're trying to have teams win like the Commanders and keep it close in the NFC East. They're trying to have teams like the Seahawks and Cardinals win, but you can only do so much. So for the 1 o'clocks, those are the 4 I really like. I really like the Raiders money line. I really like the Broncos, of course. If you saw my other videos, you know my opinion on that. That's my 4th leg. I do like the Panthers because I think that's just an obvious trap. No one's going to watch that game, so it's going to be an easy trap opportunity. And I like the Jets. For the 4s at a glance, of course, because they're traps, I like the Titans, Commanders, and Seahawks. But I'll do a deeper video on that. But I always like to say get them out there just in case I'm not able to. I do like Commanders, Texans, and Seahawks. Commanders, Texans, Seahawks. But again, I'll do a video covering that. And still, these 10, 11, 12, 13-point spreads, I don't like to mess with. You can really push it either way. I think live betting is going to affect it. So I really wouldn't touch the Steelers-Eagles game. But one more that I do like, that I do want to play, it's a spread. It's one that I like. As you can see, if you look at the over-under, we have Denver at 1-6, Indy at 1-6, and we have the Rams and Bills at 1-5. So I personally, for the over, I do like the Colts to go over finally. I think they're due. And what I'm going to do is, you'll see me do this a lot. Just let's say it winds up, we need a second sequence for something. Say one of the ones doesn't go through, we can go ahead and take the add 25 to that and make it a second leg. And I'm looking at the Rams as well, Niners. That's going to be a good game. But again, I'm trying to stick to the metrics and just get the ones out that I do think, in my opinion, just makes sense. And Denver's another one. I think, and this is almost like a super hedge because I can win both parts or lose both parts. But I do think that between, and I'll make it 40 even, I do think that between the way Russ has to play for them to win and just to keep London entertained, I think the over has to hit. And the fact that Denver's 1-6 on it, you'll see, like I said a million times, that doesn't hold up over time. So those are the sequences I really like. I like the over on Denver and Indianapolis. I like the Broncos to win, but I took them +3, just so you know. This was like a 4 or 5 day. I did it back when the lines opened because I figured they were going to change them. So I do have them plus the field goal. I do like I said, the Raiders money line I went with, so there's no shenanigans. Panthers, the +4 I think that's a good one. And the other sequence I like is the Jets plus the field goal. And we'll go into the 4s, but like I said, I do like the over on the Colts, and I do like Texans, Giants, Commanders. And for this one, I'm leaning Rams. I'll explain why. But I want to go more into depth into the games. The ones that I just picked and showed you guys and told you about, those are the ones that I feel the most confident in right now. So if anything changes, and for whatever reason I think the Cowboys are going to blow out the Bears, or I think something's going to happen with the Dolphins, I'll definitely let you know way before the 1 o'clock. But for now, I just don't. The only other one is maybe the Cardinals. It looks a little suspicious. I feel like the Vikings should be a bigger favorite. But we have to remember, not every game is a trap game. A lot of it is narratives. Now, that one would tell a nice narrative, though, because the Cardinals need to win a lot more than the Vikings. So I don't want to have 5, 6 open sequences. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this with a small bet. You can do more. I'm doing $12.50 because I do like it at the last minute thinking of it. It's a pretty big trap. And again, not every game has to be a trap, but a couple weeks in a row now, they've been trying to push the Cardinals, and I think it makes sense you push them in the division, and you have to keep Green Bay close to Minnesota, and they're losing to the Bills. So I think it makes sense Minnesota loses this game. So that's really all I got. Hopefully my data allows that. We have a lot of outstanding sequences, as you can see right now, and that's fine. The biggest one's on Denver, so we want that one to go through the most. But as you can see, we're doing well with all those open sequences and everything. Because of the system, we're able to withstand beats and get our money back, and that's the best part. You see, it wasn't fun losing Miami, but we got UCLA. It was not fun at all losing the second leg, West Virginia, by bullshit at the end, to be honest, but we got it back with Colorado State. And we might not always, but over time, again, we only need 7 sequences to win for a 3-legged loss. So I see a lot of people are now starting to understand the system, and they're telling me, I'm using it, and I get it. It's the only way you're going to beat Vegas. I don't even have to watch the games now. So that's the greatest part. You don't have to watch the games. You still can, but you don't have to get upset when they do bullshit. So I'm going to go more into the other things, but I just really wanted to get those football picks out. I was hoping to get them out earlier, but I like to let everything finish before I get into the next series of events. So take care, everybody. Happy earnings, and let's ride.